Hi. So in today's activity, you're going to use a computer simulator created by the University of Colorado at Boulder. They have something called PhET, where they create a lot of computer simulators that are used to teach physics concepts. The one we're going to use today is called Forces and Motion Basics. So when you go to the website, you're going to go ahead and click on this play button, and it will boot up the simulator. On the simulator, there are 4 different tabs. For today's activity, you're only going to use the first 3. Let's start with this first one, net force. On this part, on the top right, there are 3 different checkboxes showing what you can choose to display. I want you to go ahead and choose all of them. Then what you can do is you can click and drag people who can exert different amounts of force on each side. So this will display how much force. Forces in physics are measured in newtons, which is abbreviated with a capital N. So you can see we have 300 newtons of force to the left and 100 newtons of force to the right. That means the sum of the forces, or the net force, is equal to 200 newtons to the left. When you are ready, you can click this go button and it will have both sides pull and show you what happens to the speed. You can even pause it and change who's on there and try again. So, on this first tab, you just play with the amount of force on each side. When you're all done, you can always reset using this orange circle up here, and it'll reset it right back to the original settings. So that's our first tab, net force. Go back to this home button, it allows you to see the other tabs. Our second tab is called motion. So let's take a look at that. In motion, it has a frictionless skateboard with a crate on it. Once again, in the top right corner, you're going to click to display each of the things that it can show you. And then on the bottom, you can change the amount of force. So it's kind of convenient. These one with 2 arrows on it allows you to put on 50 newtons of force at a time. So if we click it once, it'll put on 50 newtons, and we click it again, it'll put on 100 newtons, and so forth. And then up on the top, you can observe what happens to the speed. You can also stop pushing it all by taking that force off. And you notice that this is frictionless because even when we aren't pushing, the cart continues to move with constant speed. You can also push against the motion as well. One of the other things you may notice with this frictionless skateboard is that if we push on it, it will eventually read the maximum speed they allow. This will only go up to 40 meters per second. So once it gets up to 40 meters per second, the guy will automatically fall off, and you'll no longer be able to put any more force to make it gain any more speed. When it's going that fast, you can only push against it to slow it back down. So you're going to use in this part, you're going to push on the crate with different amounts of force to see what happens motion-wise. The other thing you can do, you can put on 1 crate or 2 crates, or if you want something really heavy, you can put on this entire fridge. So you can change the amount of mass that's on the skateboard as well. So that's what you're going to use when you follow the directions on the second part of this simulator. On the third tab, right, we've done net force, motion. The last one is friction. So now we no longer have our frictionless skateboard. We now have a surface with friction on it. Once again, on this top right, you're going to click to display each of the things it says. And once again, you can apply different amounts of force to get things moving. And if you stop pushing, then it will slow down due to friction, just like it would do in ordinary life. The other thing you can do is you can change the amount of friction using this slider. You can make it lots of friction, or you can make it very little friction, or you can go all the way down to none. When you go down to none, it makes it look icy because, well, it's frictionless ice, right? So you can play around with this. Unless I tell you to change it, you just want to leave it at the default setting. But that is something you can use while you're playing around with the simulator. So in today's activity, you'll have a worksheet with questions that go along with it. You can play around with the simulator and answer those questions on the worksheet. When you are done, you can feel free to mess around with the simulator just to get a feel for how things work. one of the things about Newton's laws of motion is that they're particularly difficult to understand sometimes because we're always used to dealing with friction. But if you use a simulator, it can help you understand what the world would be like if we could go someplace that didn't have friction. It's the next best thing to taking a field trip in space. So take care, everybody, and have a great day.